Very good morning, cadets. Hope you have gone through my previous class. We are in the chapter 4, that is Mughal Empire. We studied about the popular kings of Mughal dynasty. We studied about Akbar, Humayun, Babur, Aurangzeb, Jahangir, Shah Jahan. We studied about all the important empires who ruled the Mughal kingdom. Later we studied about we are into the details of administration from the Mughal kingdom. Okay. We studied about the system of Mansbadari. What is the system of Mansbadari? Mansab was a rank. Okay. Mansab was a rank, and person who is holding a rank was called as Mansabdar. Based on the rank of a Mansabdar, his revenue source was decided. How Mansabdar's rank was decided? Mansabdar's rank was decided on the basis of the number of horses and number of sawar or cavalry men which were under his possession. So that all we studied, that responsibilities of Mansabdar. Mansabdar was responsible for military as well as political administration. What is military administration? In case there is a requirement during the war, then Mansabdar is supposed to supply or give the cavalry men or sawar or the horses to the Mughal king, as well as the Mansabdar is responsible for collection of tax from the land which is administered to him as Watan Jagir. So all these things we studied till now. Let us continue further. Now, during the time of Akbar and Aurangzeb, when we compare Akbar and Aurangzeb, Akbar's administration was considered as the fantastic administration because of the systematic involvement of administrative skills, whereas Aurangzeb's administration was not so good because of various reasons that we are going to study. Now, whenever there is a change of administration or whenever the change of a king, definitely the policies and principles will change. Let us go through what happened during Akbar and Aurangzeb's administration time. Later, we will study detail about the administration of Akbar's administration in detail. Okay. During Akbar's reign, these jagirs were carefully assessed so that their revenue were roughly equal to the salary of Mansabdar. So Akbar took an extra effort to evaluate the jagirs. After evaluating jagirs, he got an idea of what is the total revenue collection, so that the revenue collection should be equal to the salary paid to the Mansabdar. The purpose of this was so that there will not be any exploitation on peasants or farmers in the name of tax or revenue. So Akbar took initiation to have a survey of jagirs and assess or evaluate the revenue source. During the period of Aurangzeb, the revenue collection was much less due to increase in number of jagirdars. Now, during the time of Akbar, only 29 jagirdars were there, whereas Aurangzeb increased the jagirdar into 79. So, more number of jagirdars were increased during the time of Aurangzeb. Now, whenever the number of jagirdars were increased, naturally the land allotted to them, the size of the land became less. Now, imagine if 29 cadets are given a particular pack of a biscuit or a pack of a chocolates or sweets, and same packet is given to 79 members, then imagine definitely when it is given to 79 members, naturally there will be a lot of halla because everybody try to get their share. The same thing happened in the case of Aurangzeb. Aurangzeb keep on increasing the number of jagirdars. As a result, what happened? A jagirdar who is already a jagirdar, he felt that any day his post of jagirdar will go. So before he lose his post, he decided to collect as much as revenue possible, naturally resulted in exploitation. So that is what, during the period of Aurangzeb, the revenue collection was much less due to increase of number of jagirdars. Many jagirdars tried to extract as much as revenue possible while they had a jagirs. Aurangzeb was unable to control the development, there should be a comma there. So the peasantry suffered tremendously. So during the time of Aurangzeb, because of increase of number of jagirdars, Aurangzeb could not control the activities of jagirdar. As a result, peasants, poor farmers suffered very badly. You see here the image from textbook. Nobles with chart of 5,000 were ranked higher than those of 1,000. Now, what is the noble ranking? Noble's ranking was a person who is in the possession of 5,000 horses. When compared with a person with 1,000 horses, generally a person with the 5,000 horses are given a higher rank. In Akbar's reign, there were 29 Mansabdars with the rank of 5,000 jag. Only 29 Mansabdars were there. By Aurangzeb's reign, the number of Mansabdars had increased to 79. That is what I told. The number of Mansabdar or Jagirdars were increased to 79 by whom? By Aurangzeb. It was only 29 during the time of Akbar. The increase of Mansabdar during the time of Aurangzeb was one of the reasons for the exploitation of peasantry of farmers. Would this have meant more expenditure for the state? So as a result, increase of number of Mansabdars or Jagirdars create a lot of increase in the revenue source, increase in the expenditure of the government. Now I explained yesterday that a Mansabdar or a Jagirdar is supposed to have possession of certain number of horses and cavalrymen, that is Sawar. And every now and then or on a stipulated time, the Mansabdar is supposed to bring his horses and cavalrymen to the royal palace so that numbering and branding of horses will be done. This is the image where you can see a Mansabdar is travelling towards the empire with his horses and cavalrymen. So he is taking his horses and cavalrymen to the kingdom so that branding and counting of sawars or cavalrymen, branding of horses are done. When counting of sawars and branding of horses are done, according to that he will get his status, rank as well as salary. Figure 5. Mansabdar on march with his sawars. Okay. Now this figure, you see this figure, it shows how the pathetic condition of the taxpayer. You see, he is a taxpayer, peasantry, farmer. You see, poor fellow, skeletons are out. But this person is a person who is representative of Mughals, who is collecting the tax. Now you see, he is in a huge stick beating this farmer or peasants for not paying the tax. Now you see the size of the person who is getting the tax. So farmer is almost skeleton is out. He is so weak by paying. Now you see a peasant or a farmer with a begging bowl, and you see the condition of king here. How fat looking he is. Now these details from a miniature from Shah Jahan reign depicting the corruption of his father's administration. Corrupt officer receiving bribe. Corrupt officer receiving a bribe. A tax collector punishing poor peasants. A tax collector punishing poor peasants. This is the real condition of Mughal dynasty during the time of, especially during the time of Aurangzeb, because of the exploitation done on the farmers. Not only in the case of Aurangzeb, but the heat was more during the time of Aurangzeb. Let us move to the next topic, that is Japt and Zamindars. Zamindar is once again a rank, a person who is holding a particular piece of a land or size of a land was called as zamindar. Zameen is nothing but land. So person who is holding a zameen was called as zamindar. Zab is the name of a tax system. Mughal kings collected tax from peasantry as the major source of revenue. What is the major tax revenue for the Mughals? That is only from the farmers. Farmers, the tax collected from farmers was a major source of revenue for the Mughal kings. So farmers were asked to pay the tax. Most of the time it is in the form of cash, not in the form of kind. Peasants paid tax through the rural elites, that is the headman or the chieftains. Farmers, they did not have a direct link with the Mughal emperor. So whoever the rich people of that village, either they are the chief of their village or the village headman. The village headman or chief of that village was collecting tax from the farmers, and he used to handle the tax to the Mughal representative. Mughals called them as zamindars irrespective of their particular name such as headman or local chieftain. Now you see, farmer was the lowest category in the sense he was a person who was paying tax. Farmer was paying tax to the village headman or chieftain, and he was collecting tax and giving to the Mughal king. Now, Mughals never used the name chieftain, village man or village headman. They never called in a different terminologies. What is the term they used for these people? They called them as zamindars. They called zamindars irrespective of the name such as headman or local chieftains or whatever. So they called them in a single term called zamindars. Okay, that is what the terminology used by them. Akbar's revenue minister Todarmal, remember the name, Raja Todarmal. Raja Todarmal, very popular name because he was the most efficient administrator. Because of his financial as well as his systematic administration, Akbar received huge name and fame. So Akbar's revenue minister Todarmal carried out a careful survey of crop yields for a period of 10 years. You see, scientific method of taxation. What is called scientific method of taxation? Before levying the tax, you have to survey the land. Take for example, today we have a land, agriculture land, means a land which got a good water supply, dry land, wet land, pasture land. So land is divided into various categories. According to the division of lands, generally tax is collected. You cannot collect the heavy tax on a dry land because dry land don't yield anything. No? So as a result, today we have a survey of population once in 10 years. Now you see, Todarmal in those days itself he had a systematic planning of conducting survey. 1970 to 1980, this gap, this period was considered as one slot or one period for survey. So once in 10 years, Raja Todarmal, they administered survey of the lands. Once the survey of lands was conducted, then they carefully maintained the documents, records were maintained, and based on the survey documentation and based on the cultivation, the tax was levied. So tax was levied in a very systematic as well as scientific manner, not as just as the whims and fancies of the king. It's not like that. It is purely based on the systematic study of the crop yield. On the basis of data, the tax was fixed in each crop in cash. But most of the time, Mughals used to collect the tax in the form of cash. I told you, those days tax used to collect in two forms. One is kind, one is cash. What is kind? Kind is a person, a farmer, whatever he is producing, some part of that product produce itself is given. That is called kind. Cash, definitely you know today we are all paying in the form of cash. What is the sixth point? Each province was divided into revenue circles with its own schedule of revenue system known as japt. Now what happened? They divided the entire administrative into revenue circles. What today we are saying that district. District is a revenue circle. District, tahsils or taluk, then village. These are all revenue circles. Now you see one village collect the tax. The village and the group of village collect the tax, handles of tahsil. Group of tahsils collect the tax, handed to district. Group of districts collect tax, handed to the state. This is how systematic tax collection is done today. The same way, Mughals introduced a systematic tax collection in which they divided revenue circles. So revenue circles were divided, and each revenue circle was known as Jat. Jat was name of the revenue circle which is created by the Mughal kings. Mughal administration could survey the land and keep very careful accounts. This is very scientific because surveying of land was done. Surveying is nothing but careful study of the land. This was not possible in provinces such as Gujarat and Bengal. Other than Gujarat and Bengal, most of the places Mughals had a systematic survey, and after systematic survey is done, records were carefully kept, and after a systematic survey, records were kept, then only they levied the tax. So Raja Todarmal designed a systematic taxation for Akbar, okay, during the time of Akbar. Few zamindars were exploited by Mughal kings, which resulted in rebellion from the side of zamindars. Have you seen Lagar movie? Lagar, the name Lagar itself is called tax. British used to collect tax from India. The name of that tax, they used to call tax as a Lagar. Here also, Aurangzeb, during the time of Aurangzeb, he started exploiting zamindars. In the sense, he started collecting more tax from the zamindars. As a result, few zamindars were unhappy. We have seen yesterday's class that during the time of Aurangzeb, several zamindars, like even Sikhs, Jats, Ahoms, many rebelled against Aurangzeb. So here, many rebelled against Mughal king because the Mughal king started collecting excess tax. Definitely, collection of excess tax, people felt, or these zamindars felt, it's an exploitation. By the end of 17th century, peasants revolted Mughal authority, which resulted in disintegration of Mughal Empire. So Mughal Empire disintegrated. We studied that after death of Aurangzeb, that is in the year 1707. After death of Aurangzeb, the disintegration or deterioration of Mughal Empire was started because of there was no proper documentation, there was no proper administrative setup, and more important, the kings who came after Aurangzeb were not powerful to hold the condition. So all these were mainly responsible for deterioration of Mughal king. Okay, let me sum up what we studied today. So what was a taxation system which was designed by Raja Todarmal. Raja Todarmal designed the taxation system. They divided the province into revenue circles, and the revenue circles, from the revenue circles, the tax was collected, and land was surveyed properly, and after the surveying is done, the accounts were kept properly, and the most scientific method of taxation was introduced by during the time of Raja Todarmal. So children, please write all these points, because every day I repeat the same thing. Please write all these points, because definitely if you write, your understanding level. I'll meet you in the next video session. Please take care of yourself. Please be happy and please be safe. Thank you.